where we see opportunity is the interconnectivity between creative and media, leveraging our technology and Alli to be the conduit to do those things. And so my background coming from IPG, this is where, I was in the sweet spot, the nexus of data, creative media, and technology, working with the McCanns to the Crafts of the world to deliver, the messy middle, as it were. And I think what we see at PMG is there's a huge opportunity, especially with the advent of Gen AI and how we can leverage new and emerging technologies to break down those silos that, like you said, right? Like everybody kind of blurs the lines, but I think we're looking at it from a transformational consultative standpoint as much as we are a services standpoint.
So explain a little more of your background at IPG. So you mentioned you were servicing agencies like McCann, which is, I would call a creative shop, but it's a full service
We
agency.
were so to be clear, I wasn't servicing McCann. I was part of Mediabrands IPG Studio,
Okay.
which where we were so the continuum here being McCann being the big traditional, the Martin AGC, McCann, Mullen FCB, partnering with them to deliver creative for media. And that's where brand partnerships, performance creative, dynamic creative, personalization, new innovative technologies. And then Craft was also our production house that allowed us to do quick turn versioning in a meaningful kind of localized way. So my job was to kind of help build that content supply chain out at IPG, which is what I'm here to do at PMG.
Well, it makes sense that you would have been in IPG Mediabrands because a lot of the new AI generated creation tools have come from the media partners, right? I mean,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah. So Graham Wilkinson and I we worked very closely together in building Interact and MyBot and some of the AI Gen Studio work that we did with the Kinesso team, as who was our data and tech, which at PMG, I think it's even more exciting because we have all of that as our foundation, right? Our George, our founder, and the way we think about it is it's not a bolt on. It's built from the core, which I think is really exciting because it allows us to be able to do things that even the holdcos are not going to be able to do in the way they're constructed. And that's just the nature of the business, I think.
Well, and consistent with your role in particular, I know that PMG has spent a lot of time working with media partners and tech platforms to do early development of mutually advantaged applications like being a first mover on an API program or something. So it's the same thing now, but with content generation.
With content creation, generation, production, ideation. Yes, sir.
You know, I'm at a time now where I'm covering a lot of pure play AI generated agencies, small
Yeah.
shops. You
Yeah.
know, it's like, joke, the $1 billion one person company. I think it's only a matter of time before we have a 1 billion one person ad agency because the technology is enabling that. Um, so, I mean, just have to ask you, after working in a big full service holding company like that, is this the future where anybody can play in this space, with these tools, creating great creative?
I think just like the advent of technology from a computer and a personal computer standpoint, and then digital technologies, whether it be digital cameras, whether it be Adobe Creative Cloud and access to those types of things from a services standpoint, this is another evolution of that, and probably maybe the most exponentially driving evolution of kind of flattening the barrier to entry in this space. But I still think ultimately understanding a consumer brand or a business to business brand's challenge and understanding what their marketing communications require, that's a skill set that has to be trained and understood. And I think that's where originality and the human have to own the conversation and really will be the driver of originality. But there is absolutely a scale, a velocity, a high fidelity conversation that we can have around how we can use these technologies to make us better, faster, and smarter. It's not, I started my career when it was a print mechanical, a television spot, and maybe some sort of digital thing. And now the multitudes of fragmentation in marketing communications, a brand still needs to be the brand that it is, and it means something to a human. I often say, it may be AI helping us with some of these solutions and making things, but creative and communications are still made for humans, right? It's not made for a robot or a piece of technology. It's made for a consumer.
Oh, not yet, but we're on the cusp of an era of A to A marketing where you literally will be targeting machines with machine language and big ideas, I assume, appeal to
To
them.
what end, right? To get a consumer to make a decision, right?
Exactly.
So at the end of the day, it's all about how again the multitudes of how to get to that
Right.
solve, right?
That's something you're starting to think about as well. How do you
Of
message
course.
machines, right?
Yep. How do you authenticate with machines? How do you understand semantic language? How do you speak machine language in human output, right? And ultimately, the end result is the human that's going to see the marketing communication or make a decision based on what the agentic system is telling them to make a decision based on, right? So it's a very interesting time, I would say.